feel like I have to reiterate every 5 to 10 business days that I do not hate Jeremiah Fisher. I actually like Jeremiah Fisher, but I am Team Conrad in the sense I see him getting attacked a lot of the time. I come to his defense more so than I do Jeremiah. But let me just make one thing clear. Jeremiah is not a villain. Jeremiah is not terrible. Jeremiah did not cheat. What he did was wrong. He definitely betrayed Belly. It was not okay. Jeremiah has an inferiority complex to Conrad because of the way his father raised him and made him feel lesser than. That's not his fault. It is his responsibility to grow from that and change. And I really hope, obviously I don't want Belly and Jeremiah to end up together, but I really hope in this season that they don't break up because she could never get over the fact that he slept with Lacey, although most people wouldn't be able to, and that's crazy. I hope that they just realize they're not meant to be together. I hope that he realizes, even though I love you and care about you, you love Conrad and you'll never get over Conrad. And honestly, I give you my blessing. Obviously in the real world, like, it's crazy. None of them should be together, but it's a show. We want an endgame. We want an endgame. We want it now. Okay, so that's what I want. And I want him to find love somewhere else. And I want him to mature and grow, graduate early. I want them to find a way for him to be able to graduate. I want them to do, there's got to be something that he can do maybe to where he can graduate this year. I don't want him to look like a loser or a bum or any of that. I like Jeremiah. I don't think he's evil. But I'm on Team Conrad. I'm going to defend Conrad when I see people wilding out. But I don't hate Jeremiah. I think he's a good guy. I think he's a good character.
I desperately need everyone to know that Conrad has always loved Belly. If we can remember the scene from season 2 where they go to the fair and she's like, oh, Conrad just wanted to go there to see that cute little redheaded girl. No, babe. No, babe. He was there because he wanted to be there with Belly. Guys, book 3, Conrad's letters in the back. He literally says how he would admire Belly, and every time they would go to the fair, the little carnival, she would want Junior Mint. She would like look at Junior Mint, and he noticed that. So when she left the ring toss because she thought that he was trying to flirt with that girl, no ma'am, he spent $30 or $40. Keep in mind, this is a teenager. That's a lot of money. He spent $30 or $40 trying to win her Junior Mint because he knew she wanted it. Y'all, this man loves her, and he's loved her for, at this point, like, their whole life. And he notices every little thing about her. That and her favorite candy. And he sends her, when she's in Spain, he sends her a giant thing of Sour Patch Kids because she couldn't find it in Spain. So he buys her a bag and ships it to her. That man loves her. That man loves her. I just forgot one of the most important scenes. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. The glass unicorn. The glass unicorn that you can see at the end of season 2. Yeah, that's from Conrad too, because they would always go to the mall and he would see her admiring the cute little glass unicorns and she didn't have enough money herself to buy it, so he buys it for her. I'm distraught. I need to go to bed. I'm sorry, I'm back. I forgot an important detail. He buys it for her birthday. He doesn't just get it for her. He waits until her birthday to give it to her for her birthday. And the infinity necklace and because of the infinity symbol on the pancakes, and he's like, no matter what happens, we're always infinite, and he gets that for her birthday, but he's scared to give it to her because he thinks it's like people are gonna think he's stupid. That man loves her. If you want to debate me in the comments below, go ahead.
And that's what cracks me up too. She's ruining his character. She invented Jeremiah. He was born in her brain. She can't ruin what she has created. Like, this is what she intended for this character to be, this character to do. So when you say she ruined his character, like, you are not the author here. She had every intention of making Jeremiah the one who Belly did not end up with. And what's funny is she didn't need an excuse to make Conrad end up with Belly. She did this to make Jeremiah look bad so that Conrad could end up with Belly. No, Jeremiah didn't have to do anything. Jeremiah could have never done the Lacey thing. Jeremiah could have never been impulsive, immature. He could have been the perfect boyfriend. And she still have Belly pick Conrad because that's who she wants to be with. Just like how in The Notebook, Lon was a great suitor. He was a great fiance. He was a good man. But Allie's heart was with Noah. That's who she wanted to be with. Noah wasn't perfect. But that's what Allie wanted. You don't need to make an excuse for the main character to be with the person they want to be with. So, like, that's just a funny thing when people say she had to ruin the character so Conrad would be a person that the fans wanted. Doesn't Team Conrad have a bigger fan base than Jeremiah? So that's not a legitimate reason either.
It just made this connection at the very end, but it's called We'll Always Have Summer as a reference to Casablanca. Rick is desperately in love with Ilsa, and they had a fling in Paris, but Ilsa didn't know in Paris that her husband was still alive. And as Conrad tells us in episode 2, Rick eventually lets Ilsa go because he realizes that Laszlo's work is so important for the resistance that he needs Ilsa more. And so he leaves her with "At least we'll always have Paris," which in this show is an allusion to the classic movie Sabrina, in which the lovely Sabrina has always been in love with David Larrabee her entire life, but he has never noticed her once until she comes back from Paris totally transformed, sophisticated, and now conventionally attractive. Then suddenly David's all over her. Belly says she wants Jeremiah for all seasons, not just summer. But there's something actually deeply possessive and codependent about where the relationship has led them. A dynamic created by Jeremiah blaming Belly for abandoning him when he needed someone through his grief. Belly calls him my boyfriend, my Jeremiah. She feels that going to Paris for a season would be abandoning him. But these two broke up because he wanted to spend spring break by himself in Cabo on a trip he didn't even really tell her the details about, while she wanted to spend spring break together in Cousins. And this is the irony of this title and the relationship she claims she has with Jeremiah. Because infinity means it has no beginning and it has no end. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds. Love is a quiet, constant knowing. And that's why this title is not about Conrad, even though he represents the Humphrey Bogart of it all. Because Belly and Conrad didn't just have summer, didn't just have one moment when everything changed, as was the case for Jeremiah. No. Belly and Conrad did have summer. They also had Christmases too. And these are not two individuals who are trying to be two halves of one whole. These are two who are working very hard on becoming whole themselves, and they love each other for it. I just feel like everyone on the internet is reacting with like dragging Jeremiah, which I'm the queen of dragging Jeremiah. I will never not drag Jeremiah. Like I said, like I do think it's an issue. He owes his dad $20,000 and then he gets engaged to be married. Like how much money is that going to cost? Like it's definitely going to come up, and I hope they talk about classism and all those things. But I feel like for me though, I actually felt like Jenny wasn't trying to drag him with one episode as much as she was pointing out these are patterns he's always had, which is what I've been saying for years now. But like also I felt like with this episode, she also demonstrated that like there are other characters who are also making mistakes. Steven is also cheating. Taylor is also cheating. Belly also has things she didn't share in this relationship, and Conrad even makes mistakes. Everyone's trying to say like, oh, he's a doctor, but he's not yet. He's still young and he's still learning, and he got fired on day one. And I actually feel like that's the actual message she was trying to send, and everyone's like really happy because they're like, Conrad, woo, you know. And obviously I'm all about that, but I just feel like what she was actually trying to say is that like it is scary and it's messy entering adulthood, and all of us make mistakes, and frankly it's not fair to expect him to be a full adult at 21 years old, like before his brain has even fully developed. But like that's also why we're mad that he and Belly are trying to get married when they're so young, and clearly there are issues in the relationship and they're not ready for that step. So I just kind of felt like that was the actual message, is that, you know what, we actually all make mistakes, and it's more about like our long-term patterns, because there are some people who in the long term there's a healthier dynamic and they are really trying to be good, and there's other people who have perpetual problems because they are constantly self-sabotaging, or they're constantly externalizing, or they're constantly blaming other people for their problems. So I don't know, I felt like it was actually like a really sweet episode, because adulthood is messy.
I don't think it's an emotionally abusive relationship, but I do think at times Jeremiah could be emotionally manipulative, and I think it all stems from the fact that she chose Conrad first. It didn't work out with Conrad, and he's always going to feel like a second choice because she's only with him because it didn't work out with Conrad. And yes, she ended up choosing him in the season 2, but it's like, you chose him because you chose me because he hurt you. Like, you chose me because of what went down between your relationship. Had everything been fine, you'd still be together. And before you were together and you could have had me, you chose him. So I feel like he's never going to feel like the first choice. And he knows that he wasn't. So he always has to bring it up and have her reassure him that, no, I love you, which it's got to be draining for her to deal with. And then obviously, Belly's not faultless in this either, because we all know underlying dormant is this love she has for Conrad that never went away. And so it's like he can probably sense that on top of the fact that he was not chosen first. So that's got to be, 4 years of going through that mentally, of knowing your girlfriend is in love with your brother and that you were always the second choice. It's going to create and feed into the infuriated complex that was already there from the way that their father treated Conrad as opposed to Jeremiah. So it's like the man is going through a lot. And I think that's what, they're just not compatible. They don't truly belong together.
I'm sorry, I just have to address the people saying Jeremiah made a mistake. He slept with her not once but twice, meaning he came, had that post-nut clarity to think about it, think about the shame he's bringing upon himself and his relationship and how much he's fucking that up, and then chose to sleep with her again, whether it was in the same night, the same day, or the same week, it don't matter. But what gets me even more than that is that when he got back to college and got back together with her, if you consider them having broken up on that technicality, he still allowed the oblivious Belly to be brought around his frat bros and the sorority girls, where they all knew that Jeremiah slept with somebody else. I would be mortified and so embarrassed, and that level of disrespect cannot, oh my God, it cannot be overlooked. It cannot be ignored. Oh my God, I'm going to kill him. Oh my God.
Let me get this straight. Conrad not being emotionally available towards the latter half of him and Belly's relationship because his mother was on the brink of death and he didn't know how to process those emotions. So he teed it up for her to break up with him, and he wasn't a man about it. You're right. He was a teenager who allowed his girlfriend to break up with him by distancing himself and, like he said, teeing it up for her to break it off. That's so much worse than having a girlfriend, projecting your insecurities on her, blaming her for your inferiority complex, breaking up with her because she got mad because you didn't tell her about a trip you had planned out of the country. Go to that trip, sleep with someone else, come back, don't say anything to her. She finds out from the girl outside of a bathroom, or she was inside the bathroom. And what Conrad did was so much worse. Okay.
I think we need to be honest about this. Oh, I don't think Bella's going to choose any of them at the end, like even after Paris. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. Conrad Fisher, if he is not with Belly Conklin, there is nobody else. That man is staying single for the rest of his life. You cannot tell me that for 6+ years he has been pining and obsessed and unable to be moved to do anything with any other woman. That girl in the bar in that episode where Agnes was like, oh, so-and-so thinks you're cute. She's a pretty girl. And he was like, that man's going to stay celibate if it's not Belly. I'm just telling you right now. There's no way you can convince me. And any woman who tries to get with him and just goes, yeah, okay, I can get past this like obsession you had with your childhood best friend that you still see every 4th of July, you're lying. Like, it's a lavender marriage at that point then, because what are you talking about? Like, there's no way. I would never, like, I would like to, but I would never actually marry Conrad Fisher because I would be like, no. This does not feel right. This is like a walking red flag. I will never live up to that expectation that you have of the perfect woman because it's Belly and she's alive. She's a real person. Go get her. Like, what do you mean? And I'm sorry, Jeremiah will be okay. He just really misses his mom and he doesn't want to grow up. He's nervous about change. He's at that time in his life. Once he gets there, that's it. He's going to realize he needs someone stronger, sassier, more determined to like whip him into shape, woman or man, whatever. The, canvas is blank for Jeremiah, and I think he'll get over it. Conrad, nope. That man will just live with a bunch of cats the rest of his life.
Remember when I said there's literally nothing bad you can say about Conrad this season? I stand corrected. But Conrad is working on himself. He's in therapy. He's still lying to his therapist after 3 years have passed to avoid the Belly subject. This man's taking active steps to better his mental health, but because he's not fully healed yet, that's a problem. He's there, he's trying, but you want to come at him for it? That's interesting. Conrad is maturing in school to be a doctor. At school, okay, gets fired on the first day for being distracted and brushing something serious off as just a mistake. How dare he be distracted that his childhood best friend is basically like a brother almost died in a car accident? The audacity. Even outside of that, you don't think any doctor has ever made a mistake while they were training to become one? You're reaching so hard. Aw, they're like an old married couple. Look at how he takes care of Belly. He's clearly flirting with his brother's girlfriend of 2 to 3 years and hiding the fact that they are there together from him. He showed up to Cousins having no idea she was there. It's his house. Although they obviously have a past, they've been childhood friends since forever. He barely even communicated with her, and he was teasing her and helped her when she was hurt. It's not his responsibility to tell Jeremiah anyway, it's Belly's, and she almost did except for the phone was bugging out. You must be captain of the Conrad haters because this is the most disingenuous take I've ever seen.
I really enjoyed the Christmas 2.0 scene, and I see some people having, I don't know, some mixed opinions on it because of a couple of the dialogue changes, and just, I guess, maybe they were thinking it would be more, I don't know, like heavy on the sexual chemistry or like the romantic chemistry, but this is exactly what this scene was supposed to depict. We have to first talk about why each of them come to Cousins, because it's for the exact same reason. Belly is at home in her childhood home that she grew up in by herself and decides that she wants to be at her favorite place in the world, the place that she really truly feels at home. It's a comfort to her, and she goes to Cousins. Conrad has been staying away from Cousins because of Belly and Jeremiah, and so he decides that he's going to go to Cousins and bail on this skiing trip with his dad and Jeremiah because he can finally be at home, which he has called it too, and be with his mom's memories and just kind of feel at ease in a place that he's missed. For both these characters, despite them not being together, despite them having their ups and downs, when they are together, they both feel at home. And that's what this scene is depicting with the... It's showing them having breakfast and it being calm and comforting, and they're just kind of coexisting together. They're together but not together, like Belly says, right? You've got Conrad doing a crossword puzzle and Belly watching a movie, and they're not ignoring each other. They're having dialogue, they're interacting, but they're able to be independent and also do their own, also be together at the same time. And they're both like at ease and very, very comfortable. I keep saying that word, but that's what it is. It's calming. It's warm. And so when Jeremiah calls and, Belly and Conrad are looking at each other, and there's this picture here at the bottom of Conrad's kind of face, the bubble kind of bursts that they were almost like playing house. They were living out this fantasy that they probably both have had at one point of them being together and Cousins and where they both belong with each other. But then reality came back in that, oh wait, to Conrad, he's like, Belly's with Jeremiah. I'm not with Belly. This is not my life. And Belly is feeling guilty because she probably in that moment, even though she doesn't say it, felt more at home and at ease than she had felt in a while. And so Belly says, like, I have a secret too. And I see some people online being like, that is not the same as Jeremiah's Lacey and Cabo incident. But I think it feels the same to Belly because of how she felt this day and how she realized that there's always going to be a part of her that is going to think about this life with Conrad that she got to kind of play house with and experience this day. And so there's a guilt that she has there because she's in this 4-year-long committed relationship, but she didn't think about Jeremiah once during this day, or she felt better than she's felt in a long time. And that is a very guilty feeling to have, despite nothing physically happening or whatever, or even dialogue happening. There's no emotional cheating going on in this scene either. It just feels that heavy because her feelings for Conrad are that heavy. And she can't explain that to Jeremiah because, well, how could he understand that, right? And why should he have to understand that? So to her, this is on the same level as if she physically cheated on him with somebody, because that's how intense her connection with Conrad is. And the last thing I'll say is just like, this is Belly and Conrad's love. This is what it looks like. It is calm. It's not Jeremiah and Belly making out library stacks. It's not, and it was a little bit hot and cold and like arguments and all of that in the beginning stages, but now we're seeing the true Conrad. We're seeing who he was prior to all the grief, and he's still working on his childhood trauma from his dad and just like, you know, his confidence and all of that, which will continue over the course of season 3. But this is who she fell in love with. This is the person. And I think this is what their love would have looked like if the events of season 1 and season 2 didn't take place.